this idea of natural rights that you're born with from the moment you come into this world? Have you ever wondered, where do those rights come from? We should try to figure that out. So what are our natural rights? Well, Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence, he said that there were certain rights that were inalienable. They are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Where do these things come from? Well, natural rights derive from the concept of the natural law. So, if you remember, the natural law is the idea that the universe functions based on a system of laws. And the system of laws that deal with human nature are basically outlined in the Ten Commandments. Although these are very general, basically the Ten Commandments are considered the natural law in Western culture. If you take those 10 Commandments and try to pull rights out of those 10 Commandments, then you have your natural rights. Let's look at an example. Now, Thomas Jefferson writes you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How do you come up with that life? Well, you are born and you are therefore given life. Because you cannot murder, right, which is the commandment, you will not kill, then you have the right to life. The right to life is derived from you will not murder. And that was something you were born with, because obviously if you were not born, you would not be alive. So that right derives from birth and is inalienable. Okay, so we understand that the right to life comes from the commandment you will not murder. But what about liberty? Where does that come from? Well, that is derived from all 10 commandments. If you look at the 10 commandments, you have the right to choose whether to follow the commandment or not to follow it. Obviously, they're given as a guide, but you are not required to follow those. The fact that you have a choice means you have freedom, you have liberty, you have what's called free will. So if you have the free will to choose between following a commandment and not following a commandment, that means you are born with the right to choose, the right of free will, and therefore the right of freedom or liberty. These rights that Thomas Jefferson spoke about in the Declaration of Independence come from John Locke, who wrote 2 treatises on government. It was a book published again around the time of the founding of the United States. And in it he talks about the right to life, liberty, and property, which he talks about as estate. Now, life and liberty we've already talked about. But Jefferson put in the pursuit of happiness. Where did he get that? Well, the pursuit of happiness actually comes from another work of John Locke, and that is called Concerning Human Understanding. That was an essay that was written by John Locke, where he talks about the pursuit of happiness. But he talks about it in the context of liberty. So in order to have liberty, according to Locke, you have to have the right to pursue happiness. So when Thomas Jefferson is talking about the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, he's really only talking about 2 rights. He's talking about the right to life and the right to liberty. And within liberty, you can also find the right to pursue happiness. And that is why the idea of natural rights is important. That way, people don't come up with random rights that don't actually exist and won't function. Remember, the natural law is based on the idea of the laws of the universe. If you start basing your laws or your rights on things that are not based on the natural law and not based on the laws of the universe, then your society will crumble and fall.